3:55 GMT, as is being reported everywhere, the World Cup being held in Qatar has been won by Argentina, beating France. And even France 24 didn't show any evidence of any existence, any sign of the existence of the French president, Macron, who was all over the news screens last week after France had beaten Morocco. So we shall be hearing more about the Argentinians. So there is a piece in the Sunday Times magazine of the 18th of December 2022 about Public Enemy. There is a number of criminals, mass murdering foxes. And there is one criminal that has been featured in this article. I'm not going to even look at it. And there are other people who are absolutely correctly identifying foxes as this woman has done. The actress Kate Beckinsale ruffled feathers in July when she posted pictures of herself feeding the local fox Peepo in her mother's London garden. And there is this highlighted kind of summary. In his early attempt to classify the natural world, Aristotle called foxes wicked and villainous. Shakespeare agreed. Now, this is not right. And there is a whole list of how to keep foxes out. Tips for outfoxing intruders. And on the next page, next text page, is Stacy Fletcher and Denise Humphreys treat a patient at the Fox Project, one of the animals suffering from mangy. Below, the mischievous Basil Brush. Of course, Basil Brush is a cartoon character. I adore them. They have so many different personalities, and you can tell quickly what they are like, much like dogs. It seems perfectly reasonable for people to call in pest control for a serious fox problem in their homes. But it does sadden me to think that we can't accept even a hint of wildness in our cosseted urban lives. When I see a fox cross a city road, I don't usually feel horror or outrage. I feel a visceral thrill at being reminded that nature hasn't yet been utterly defanged. As much as foxes may irritate us at times, I suspect we'd miss them if they were gone. Now, let's not talk about their being gone. So this is a timely kind of look at the experience of foxes, and we shall be talking more in later editions and further future editions about foxes. Now, going back to the Newham voices. Newham voices, we shall not be able to check what they have done, if they have done anything during Sunday after the supporters meeting that called it held at the Stratford Library yesterday, which is 17th of December 2022. And the most shocking thing, as I said, was to discover that Adrian White, who I remember as being a member of the SWP, I don't want to call it SWP Wonkers, but he was a member of the SWP when I had any contact with him. 31, was it 31 years ago? 1981, was it 31? No, it's more than 30, 41 years ago. Is it? 91, 2001, 11, yes, 41 years ago, I was involved with the thing called East End News. And Adrian White was one of the people, one of the main kind of so-called self-styled socialists in the National Union of Journalists who had started the initiative from a base in East London, Tower Hamlets. Adrian White, the racist Jake Eccleston, and the racist Mike Jamshit. Now, Adrian White at that time was, I think, connected with the SWP. So for him on Saturday, 17th of December, 2022, even to say that he didn't want the Newham Voices to publish too many news about too many miserable things happening to people. This was shocking. But he did make that shocking statement after Roxana Fias had left. Whether he would have said the same thing while Roxana Fias was present cannot be speculated on, because I have not observed them interact at any other time except on this occasion yesterday, which is 17th of December 2022. And there was this councillor from Forest Gate South, I think, man of African or Caribbean background, called Winston Vaughan. Winston Vaughan introduced Roxana Fias, and he included a phrase that said, she is my boss, he said. Now, this didn't look like a meeting about an alternative newspaper for a borough, for a demography like Newham, nor did it sound. And I was absolutely amazed that all the people were there in my vocabulary, in the context of all the things that I stand for, and in the context of all the things that they have done or have refused to do, that collection in that context was nothing more than a zombie collection. And Adrian White was the zombie in charge. Adrian White, I'm going to send him a script or edited script of this one. Adrian White said, Words to the effect that he, Adrian White, lives or lived in a sheltered accommodation somewhere. So he's a fully fledged retired individual. But later he said to me before I left that he had spent 30 years in Europe. I remember that. That's why I asked him, was he in Europe? And he said he was. And then he emphasized the fact by saying that he was in Europe for 30 years. And it was something to do with the International Federation of Journalists. Something that reminded me of Dennis McShane having done after he was disgraced as a member of parliament. Was he disgraced as a member of parliament after he left the NEJ or something? Whatever Adrian White may think had happened on Saturday the 17th of December 2022, because he said that about 50 people, it was beyond his expectation. Now, we are talking about Newham. In my reading, Newham, as a demography, remains one of the most unrepresented demographies in all of England, and that there is no democracy in the Newham Council, not any whatsoever. So for Winston Bourne to say that Roxana Fiaz was his boss, it was more than ironic and more than a telling confession that Newham was not a bureaucratic, Newham was not a democracy, Newham Council, but rather as an enterprise fronted and led, within quotation marks, by Roxana Fiaz, which is why Winston Bourne felt confident to deferentially refer to her as his boss. I shall come back to this whole thing again later before this edition finishes, unless there is a technical hitch. Now, moving on to the situation in Bangladesh, I spoke to a supporter in London earlier this evening, not long ago, about 2 hours ago, and I spoke to him about the detention in Bangladesh of Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir. I said that in Bangladesh, the only politician currently active in Bangladesh was Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, who was a decent individual and he should not be detained at all. So this individual who supports the Bangladeshi Nationalist Party said that all the people agree. Now, I don't know what the scheme is between Ziaur Rahman's widow, Khaleda Zia, and her son Tariq, and whether Tariq understands the virtue and the value of allowing the experience and the commitment and the moral status and standards associated with Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, to let him lead any BNP government that may get elected after the overdue election in Bangladesh. I don't believe that Khaleda is in a healthy state to lead a government. She may serve the people as an overall emeritus advisor to a BNP government, that may be formed after the election. I don't believe that there would be much to gain by Khaleda Zia's son pushing Mr. Fakhruddin Alamgir out of the scene and out of that spot that I have correctly assigned for him. Because it's only a matter of weeks, before thunder gets me. And I would like to thank the sole individual from the local publishing network that has turned up and supported the idea. There are leaflets and ballots on the walls going to the venue of the rally that took place in an informal way in London this evening. I didn't go there, but I'm just saying that that's where I saw the leaflets. And if things go the way they are, and if the Bangladesh Nationalist Party stops being a dictatorship, and if it condemns extensively the role played by Shamima Begum, Shamima's father, Shamima's uncle. So, what we shall be doing, making a break here at this stage as well, and come back for part D.